Your favorite toy truck nerds are back. Welcome to That Scale RC Show. Hey everybody, welcome to That Scale RC Show. This is episode 116. My name is Travis, one of your hosts, along with Jay and Adam, and thank you for joining us. We have
thank you.
Good amount of stuff to dive into, but the most, I think, biggest thing is Axial Fest this last month. So I think Adam was the only person who attended, obviously, of us three, but figured we want to just dive right back into that, or...
Yeah, you bet.
We can recap a little bit, Adam.
Yeah. So Axial Fest West. I mean, it gets hard saying that because I guess that's how people are, deferring the two, or because like we got Axial Fest Badlands that started 3 years ago, and now we have, the original Axial Fest. At least what I always call Axial Fest is now being referred to as Axial Fest West. So you almost always have to remember that for some of the people that are, new to the hobby. But anyways, that was 2 weekends ago up at Rob's Resort. Second year that it was at Rob's Resort. And it was a good time. It was definitely warmer this year than last year, but still was a good time. We definitely, I guess the talk of, anybody who went was the bear sighting / invasion Friday and Saturday night.
I didn't even hear about that.
Oh wow!
You didn't? I didn't tell you guys about that.
No. That's new for us too.
Okay, so Friday night, we were so Saturday morning we got back. We rolled back into Rob's, and I was meeting up with the group that I was with, and we were just kind of talking. They're like, "Oh, did you hear? Bears came in last night." And I was like, well, I just got here. I said, this is the first I'm hearing about it. Like, oh yeah, they said all the perimeter campgrounds or campers got hit. Like there was a couple people that lost their coolers, that their trash was just shredded and thrown everywhere, and they were like, yeah, so a bear came through. So we're kind of like, well, that's what kind of sucks and what happens when you're out on the perimeter, because you're an easy target. They're not really coming in to the center of where all the people are. They're hitting the outside. So we're like, all right, whatever. And then a couple people hit trail that day, and ironically a bear took a big old dump on on trail B. So so it was pretty funny. So we were going through, it looked like a whole bear war zone. There was stuff shredded everywhere, and then all of a sudden you get to this big old pile. It was like, wow, this bear, had a feast. And then I guess because I left Saturday night or Saturday evening, and then it was funny because when I was leaving, there were quite a bit of people that cleared out of that field, and I was like, that's kind of weird. There's a lot of people leaving. I said, I bet you they're all freaked out about the bear. Well, because they had all left, the bears actually went more towards the center, and actually one of the guys, Sean Michael Moore, who was in our group, he stayed Saturday night. He lost his cooler. He was they were crazy. They went out night crawling, and they were out at 1:32 a.m. and they got back to the camp, and his cooler was just shredded and everything inside was gone.
No one heard anything or chased him off, or?
So ironically, I guess Chris Prestwood said, because he was up in his rooftop tent, he said he heard it, and when he looked outside and saw that it wasn't a little black bear, he was like, yeah, I'm staying right here.
No kidding.
So yeah, so I don't know. I mean, Unfortunately, I think it freaked out a lot of people. Like, now people hearing about this, and also anybody that's on Axial Fest or Bus, seeing the posts and all that stuff. I'm sure they're all like freaking out, like, oh, we don't want to go to Axial Fest if it's going to be, bear infested. Last year, we had zero issues with bears. And this year, I think a lot of it had to do with how long we had a winter. I mean, we were still getting hit with rainstorms into May. So, I mean, I think that the whole fact that they probably just got out of hibernation in like the end of March, maybe middle of April, when it actually kind of like stopped snowing for once. And so, they're probably still up high in the, where instead of like traveling to wherever they go. So I think that had a lot to do with it. But I also think it just needs to be that people need to take into consideration you're in the wilderness, like you got to know that there are animals up here, like chances of you always seeing a bear, not always a great one, but it is possible. So just kind of like, be aware. And personally, I was telling a lot of people, I think it would have been great if Canyon Coolers, like, no, there, once again, nobody showed up from Canyon Coolers, which was weird because John Martin texted me and said he was going to be there. So, and I still haven't texted him to see what's going on. But last year, supposedly, the representatives that were coming out caught COVID like 3 days before Axial Fest, so they didn't come out. And then I don't know what the story was this year, but I mean, that would have been perfect. That would have been like, you wrote the ad right there. Hey, if you guys were here at Axial Fest and your shit got destroyed by a bear, come show us whatever. We'll give you, 15% off a cooler or something. Like, I mean, like that would have like wrote itself, but nobody was there.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah, but on to the fun stuff. So it's always a great time going to Axial Fest. Being that it's at Rob's and it being its second year there, it's like you're still kind of learning the lay of the land and how everything is, but it's definitely bringing back a more campground vibe back to the whole atmosphere of Axial Fest, because anybody who's gone to Cisco back when Axial Fest was there, it was a campground. So, there's people camping, they had like a, communal, place where they went, the pavilion where you go, and that's where they had the show and shine and all that stuff. So when they went to Donner, there really wasn't that whole camping, family atmosphere, because you're at a ski resort. There is no campground there, so people were camping in a parking lot. It just really wasn't as, camping experience like everything else was. So coming back to Rob's Resort, where it's now a campground again, you have the center stage where like they did live music the one night, and that's typically where they hold everything. That's kind of like the pavilion of Cisco. It's just nice to have all that again. And
yeah,
it's definitely drawing, I think, more people back, because last year a handful of people that I know didn't go because they were like, everyone says the same thing. Oh, it's not Cisco. It's not Cisco. So they don't go. But I think like last year they saw like how much fun people were having and kind of like the atmosphere, and they were kind of bummed, and they were like, I'm going next year because, I want to check this out. So, yeah, so it was a, good time. And then also I hung out with the Operation 11 Charlie group for, I don't know how long. Our good buddy Scooter Scott was there. His first time at Axial Fest.
Oh, that's
got
cool.
to hit a trail with him. Actually got to meet him in person for the first time, and super great guy to have in your corner. I mean, super cool guy to talk to, and I mean, I get it. He's supposed to be working the booth, so he doesn't get to like take off and just hit trails and all this stuff. But yeah, it was good. And then also getting to see Javier. Catching up with him, and then like just the hospitality that they show me, when I'm there. It's like they're like, oh, come, hang out. We just did burgers, we just did hot dogs, come chill at the table,
Oh, cool.
like they like, oh, here's a chair. Like, I mean, they just totally, roll out the red carpet, and it's like they don't have to do that. So, and anybody listening knows how we're such big supporters of them and their mission and what they're doing, and it's just always good. It's always good just to hang out with them and just, like I said, even BS. Like, if I'm not out on the trail, I'm not gonna be like heartbroken. But if I get to see my friends and hang out and just like catch up, I mean, that's what it's all about for me.
Right.
So, but yeah, so all in all, like I said, pretty good time. They'll I think like give it another like 2 years. I think Rob's Resort will be dialed in. I mean, there was this one trail they carved it, like it was straight up like all in the trees, and I mean there were people falling off this thing left, right, and center. I know Chris Presswood, I think him and his son both drove off, and I think when Chris landed, he blew the panhard bar off. He stripped links out of the rod ends. I mean, it was it was pretty gnarly. So there was a lot of people.
That's a pretty good side impact to do that.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, because I think you were like 10, 15 feet in the air, like on trees, and you're on the ground, like trying to drive, and you don't even really know. I mean, it was kind of crazy, but I didn't
those usually.
Yeah, I didn't hit that trail. I think that was Jay. I didn't hit that trail, so I did A, B, G, H, and I forget whatever the one they called Elio's trail that was in the center of the field, because there's like a little like creek kind of thing that runs through the center of that field where you camp out, and he built, like, I guess they put in a bunch of rock. He put some like scale trees and stuff, and like he was trying to make it like the mini Rubicon. I mean, it was a fun little trail. So I did all that, and then I think and then F, yeah. So I did like 5 or 6 trails, and I think there were like 8 or 9. So it was, all in all, good time, and yeah.
Why is J&K always a gnarly trail at Axial Fest?
No idea.
You remember the last year at Cisco? It was that way too. Like just super, super hard.
Well, yeah, it's because I think what they do is they get down towards like the end, and they're like, yeah, we're just gonna just make this one, messed up because it's, it's the last trail,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. And then also this year they didn't do a designated 6 scale trail, which
really
was kind of like shocking, because this year there was actually, I think, more 6s there than they were last year. So it was just interesting. I mean, I don't know. One of the guys on the G crew said that the 6, they like almost all the trails you can run a 6 on, which is kind of true. I mean, like some of the gates are really wide. Like you don't have to, worry. You can come through any which angle. But there were some of the man-made obstacles, like the dumbwaiter, I guess was what I call it. You get on the little sled and you slide down it, and then the weight of the rocks, once the rig's off, pulls the sled back up to the top.
Oh, okay.
So,
right.
Yeah, like, but there's no way that was built for, I mean, my pro fit on there like a glove. Like there's maybe a 1/4 inch on each side. Like there's no way you were going to be taking anything bigger than that.
Right.
So it's just, and then there's a couple like suspension bridge things that they had built, which there's, like I said, no way a 6 is going on that. But I don't know. That's what one of the G crew guys said. But yeah, so I mean, it's fun.
I mean, usually anybody, like when you have a group of people like at Axial Fest and it's a lot of people, I mean, it's just, that's typically what kind of sets the atmosphere, even if the area is not like ideal. I mean, you had fun even at Donner, didn't you? I mean,
so it wasn't yeah, so Donner, the whole thing I have with Donner is Donner's got some killer terrain because it's a ski resort and it's out closer to the granite slabs. Right. So it's like you're going up granite like cliff faces, and the other thing about that is when you got to the top, you could see Donner Lake. Like the views were like insane. So that was the difference that I had with Donner. The thing that sucked though is it's a ski resort, so you're going like up steep hills all day, whereas Rob's is a lot more flat. So it's like it doesn't kill you to be out on trail all day because you're like, all right, you know, because you're just walking flat almost the whole time. So it definitely they have their pros and cons, but I definitely got to say, like, that's why I'm saying I think Rob's Resort, being that that's like the new hub for it, for Axial Fest, it's going to be the new, you know, it seems like that's going to be the home for a while. They're just, the owner really wants to make it better. Like, he's like, what do I need to make it better? I mean, he brought in, I don't know how many loads of rock this year, and he says he wants to bring even more loads next year. So, I mean, the guy, like, he sees the potential in it. He knows what needs to happen, and he's, you know, trying to make an effort out of his own pocketbook to make it better for anybody going to Axial Fest.
Well, he could make it to where too. I mean, because that was actually one of the questions I was going to ask you is, you know, is the owner, you know, like into all of this? Because I mean, you're basically having to improve the land that he already has, and so that's, I was kind of surprised to hear you talking about first, like, you know, him allowing so much creative freedom and stuff when people are building the trails. But I mean, God, that's great that he's behind it. I mean, who knows, maybe if, you know, things work out in his favor, that could end up being like some sort of RC weekend destination.
Well,
You know,
I think
like,
what he wants to do, like what he's kind of like marketing towards, is he becomes like a popular place. Like, if you're going to Rubicon, because Rubicon's only 10 miles down the road, the entrance at Loon Lake is 10 miles down the road. It's a long, windy 10 miles, but it's right down the road. So like, if you're coming up and you got a big old toy hauler, or you got, you know, a big old RV that you want to park, like, he's got the room to do that. There's no way you're going to park an RV or a toy hauler at Loon Lake. It's just not going to happen. So I think what he wants is like, so if he has something like that set up, and he knows that there is a crossover, you know, there's some people that do the real one-to-one crawling, and they get their kids little toy crawlers, you know, or even axial crawlers or whatever to play around with when you're, you know, downtime. So I think, like, if he has it kind of like tailored to that, then they're kind of like, okay, well, when you're here, you know, kids got something to do, even the parents get involved. I mean, because it was funny, because last year Rob's Resort has resident campers, like people that pay for a spot for like the whole year, and they park their, you know, their trailer there for the whole year. And whether they live there because they're working for like PG&E or something, or if they're there because, I don't know, they just want to be away from civilization for a while, there are resident campers there. And one of the trails went like kind of like right by the main road where you go to those resident areas. And I remember last year we're sitting there, we're going through, and this guy comes out of his trailer and he's looking, and he's like, man, those are so cool. He goes, you know, what are those? And we're like, oh, it's a scale crawler, you know, like just like a normal, you know, car or rig that you would take on the trail, just scaled down. And he's like, man, that's badass. And he's like watching it, and he goes, that's crazy how it, like, you know, how it can flex, and it does, like, the suspension works. Like, oh yeah, you know, these aren't like toy grade, these are actually hobby grade crawlers. And he's like, huh. And he goes, where do you buy one of those? And we're like, I said, you want one right now? I said, go down, RPP selling them right there at the booth. I said, go right down, you know, like, I mean, it's funny, like, there are people that went down and they bought them just because they saw what we were doing at Axial Fest. So it's like, that's what I think he sees, what the owner sees in this. Like, he kind of sees like the expansion, and plus he also kind of in a way fell in his lap, because even like Cantina for the Con isn't held at Loon Lake anymore. Like, it used to be, like, when I used to go to Cantina for the Con, you were camping on the slabs, you were right there by the dam. All the vendors were down in the center, like little valley that was there. And I mean, you were trying to cram like all these people. I mean, and you had people pulling up everywhere with, you know, from stock rigs to freaking, you know, rock crawlers and buggies and everything. And I mean, it was just like hectic. Well, now Cantina for the Con is all organized and held in the barbecue and the raffles and the everything similar to like Axial Fest is held at Rob's Resort. So I think it has a lot to say that just what's going on in that area, they don't want people, you know, holding events out there. So they're having it over at Rob's. So it's giving a place for, you know, people to go to. So I think if he just, you know, changes it up a little bit and like adds a few more things, that even if it looks just normal, like, I mean, you could be like a pile of rocks or like something that like we'd be like, oh yeah, look, that could be a total line that you can go through right there. Your average person just might be like, all right, whatever, it's rocks on the side of the road. Like, and it doesn't really take away. It's not like you're putting in these crazy, you know, not like those man-made, you know, drawbridges and all that stuff are going to be up year round.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, so far it's pretty cool. I mean, if they actually, I'll tell you, and I'll just be honest, if they had a better way or a better Wi-Fi, I guarantee you that place would be more packed than it is, you know, with the attendance that we get now.
Really?
Oh yeah, because I think that draws also, there's a lot of people that are like, hey, we're going to be at Axial Fest for 3-4 days. I have no way of getting a hold of anybody.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
So I think it kind of like, you know, there's some people that are like, they need to check in on their family. They need to check in on their kids, or they need to, you know, whatever. Like they like having the security of knowing they can call out. And I mean, Rob's Resort does have Wi-Fi, but as soon as everybody's there and everybody's on the free one, it sucks.
Yeah, I could see that.
So, I mean, I don't even try it. As soon as I get there, I just put my phone on airplane mode and I just, you know, hang out. I don't, yeah. So, but I don't know what they gave. I actually should bug Javier. I don't know what they gave them because they had some login for Wi-Fi. Because I mean, they were making posts. They were like texting. I'm like, did they give you some sort of like special like Wi-Fi, or did you bring like a Starlink or something? Like, how the hell are you guys, you know, functioning normally and everybody else is like scrambling trying to use the free Wi-Fi?
Yeah, that's strange.
But I mean, like I said, all in all, it's a great time. And I actually got my 10.3 with the body that Spencer painted out on trail.
Nice.
So, yeah. So I was stoked to finally get that, you know, like fully up and running and, you know, out on, you know, out in the wilderness.
How did the pro do? I mean, there might not have been very challenging terrain there for it, but
I mean, I'm sure it could do way more challenging lines, but I mean, what I like about the pro is that's a tiny body. Everything's tucked. I mean, the weight distribution is like perfect. I mean, that car is a performer.
nice.
The only problem I had with mine is I forgot to totally test it when I was setting all the, you know, the ESC and all that stuff. So I need to do a little more fine tuning adjustment with mine, and then mine will be dialed in. But I mean, for just how it was, that thing, like I said, that crawled pretty much anywhere I took it, no issues. I mean, the fact that the bumpers, like I said, it's a performance rig. The bumpers are pulled back, so you got tires hitting before bumpers do. I mean, it works really well.
Nice. Well,
So,
good.
yeah, so I'm stoked. So I did launch mine out of a tree, but
Yeah. I'm just too much of a wuss to try those.
well,
The
so-
tree lines sketch me out.
So this is where I first discovered that my drag brake was not set properly. So I'm following everybody on trail. It's doing everything. And I start going up this, like, it's like a tree that had fallen and then like it landed in like another tree. So I think what they did was I think they staked it so it stays like that. And anyways, you drive through it. And then it's almost like a big ramp. You drive up it at a really like low incline. Like, I mean, I think like it's like I said, it's got to be like a 20-foot long tree. And at one point, like, you know, the one part's at the ground and the other part's up in the air about maybe 10 feet. So it's not that steep. And you get to the top and then there's a steeper one that you got to go down. So I lined up and I kind of like was trying to like slowly give it a little throttle to let it like kind of creep over, and I was going to let the drag brake do everything, and I was just going to steer. Well, as it's going down, it's just getting more and more and more speed to the point where it's almost like I'm giving it throttle, and I'm like, I need to like slow this thing down. And I was like, do I hit the reverse? Do I not? Because we all know, like, you get going too fast, you hit reverse, it's just game over. And so I tried to give it just a little, like barely hit reverse, and that screwed everything up, and it kind of like went off to the side, then flipped off, and that was the end of it.
Oh no.
So I said, it is what it is. I mean, I was a little disappointed because I did put a number on that body, but it's okay.
You did a nice job on it. It turned out good.
Thank you. I mean, a lot of people surprisingly did say that. Like, they're like, how did you do that? And I'm like, you just cut out a design on the plotter and just reverse mask it and paint it. Like, I guess I say it's not that hard, but I guess some people, don't view it that way.
Interesting.
So, and I just wanted to do something because, like, I was talking with Bennett about this. Like, I was like, should I do this or should I do that? And he goes, dude, you got to keep it your traditional colors. It's got to be white and black with gold. And I'm just like, dude, I've done that so many times. There's only so many variations of that I can do. So I'm like, how do I do it in that style, but break it up just enough to where it looks a little custom? And then I just started looking at stuff online, and I found somebody did some like hex pattern on something, and I was like, maybe I'll do hexes. So I just Googled hex patterns, and I found one that I liked. I printed it out in like three different like variations, and that's what I did. I just threw it on the car, and I was like, cool, looks good to me.
That'll look great.
So, and then I guess it also is kind of shocking when people, ask how you paint it, and I'm like, dude, that's all rattle can.
You can get some good paint jobs out of rattle can on occasion.
So, yeah, I just, like I said, I mean, I have an airbrush, but I haven't dabbled into the polycarbonate airbrush paint. So I'm just like, I don't know, which I kind of want to, because, and mind you, I know he does this by profession to an extent. Like Chris Prestwood did this paint job on his one VW bug body, and it looks really nice, but he used the airbrush because he's able to get the fade effects, which is, you can't really get that fade with a can.
Yeah, it's too broad.
Yeah, so I mean, it looked really nice, and that's what got me kind of going like, I'd like to get into airbrushing, but I just then you gotta spend the time and really practice so you know what the hell you're doing.
Well, and it takes trying to do bodies like what you did, where you've got a lot of one color. Like an airbrush is so hard to get even coverage with, and it's such a tiny area.
What I would do is, if I was doing that and I wanted to change it up and like maybe give it like some fade or whatever, I probably would start off with doing the like, I'd probably mask it off still, kind of like I did, like do the big bulk, and then maybe do your fades, and then once it's dried, then come in with a can and just cover the whole rest of the the coverage of the one color that you're trying to nail, so that way you're not trying to, like you said, sit there with an airbrush trying to fill it all in.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd probably do like the details first, then blast it with full color. But yeah, that's about it with Axial Fest and the Pro.
Nice.
That's cool. Good.
The funny thing is, I got a lot of compliments on the wheels, and they wanted to know who coated them, and I'm like, dude, that's just good old ghetto spray paint.
It doesn't
I
take
was
much
like,
sometimes. I mean, that's some of the best looking wheels that I've had have just been something that I've taken and spray painted.
well, so I don't know if I never got like the oils or whatever off that aluminum, but when I first got those wheels, I had my buddy bead blast them, and then I cleaned them off with acetone, and then I hit them with Cerakote. And I've Cerakoted a few other sets of wheels, and they hold up fine. And for some reason, those ones, it's like it would just come off in like sheets. So I'm like, okay, so clearly it's not adhering to the wheel right. So this time I just told my buddy, I was like, look, just blast them, and I'm probably just gonna spray paint them, and I hope they stick. And he's like, okay. So he blasted them again, got all the Cerakoting off everything. I wiped them down again with acetone, and then I did a couple light coats, and seems to be holding up fine.
Nice. That's good.
So, yeah.
You didn't use any like etching primer or anything?
Nope.
Right.
I just had them bead blast it all off, and then like I said, then I did take a Scotch-Brite and just kind of go over everything real quick, then acetoned it, and then like I said, just a couple light coats, and I actually like wasn't trying to rush, so like I do like a couple light mist coats, let it chill for like 30-40 minutes, do another light mist until it looked like everything was evenly coated, and then once that was dry, I waited like a day, then I flipped them over, did the other side. And I always started with the back because I was like, if it sticks anything and something gets fucked up, then it's on the back side. So that way the front side at least looks cherry. And then, it, like I said, it all held up. The only complaint I have to have about that whole entire like assembly process would have to be, and it's nothing to do with the company, but putting in those printed like foams versus regular foams is a trip, because I'm so used to having like a crazy amount of stretch, you know, with the foams. So like even closed cell foams, like you can still stretch them, like there's still some movement, like you can stretch it. Those, it's like they're just like the hole for the wheel to go into, there is no stretch, it just is there. So it's like you have to put it on like dead nuts flat and then just push the wheel inside. There's no like moving it around and getting it to sit perfectly. Like,
really? Well, that's good.
Yeah,
That they
that-
don't shift though. I mean, that part's nice. That's usually
no, they are nice. And I do got to say those RoboSlug printed inserts work really well. I mean, that car could side hill. It still has bite because I did the soft. Because I guess it changes up the amount of webbing that he has. You can get a soft, medium, or firm, and I went with soft on all four corners. And another one that's a shout out to Bennett, because he's the one who told me about them. But yeah, so I did those, and like I said, my first time not running a scale tire. So
those trenchers are great though. You're gonna love them, especially once they break
Oh.
in. I mean, like those have worked so good up here, even in like dumping rain. They're awesome.
well, I couldn't believe how sticky they were, because those are the Predator compound. I couldn't believe how sticky those things were straight out of the bag.
I don't know if the printed inserts would help combat this, but I stopped using Predator compound just because, like, on anything I had with overdrive, the rear ones would just wad up. Like the tire would stay stuck to whatever surface you were crawling, and then the wheel would just spin and then wind them up. So I wonder if the 3D printed inserts take care of that.
They might. I mean, also that is a really light rig. I think all in all, without a battery, I want to say that rig only weighs like 3.5 pounds.
Wow, really?
It's a light rig.
That's pretty cool.
So
What percent overdrive does that thing have?
40,
Really?
I think. I got to look at I'm actually, so fun fact, I'm actually assembling Javier's Pro.
Oh, no kidding.
So it was pretty funny. So I had just shown off my Pro. I just was showing all the guys at the Operation 11 Charlie tent. I was like, yeah, you know, and they're all checking it out. And Alan was like, Javier, you got to get one of these. Like, you got to get one of these. And he's like, oh, yeah. So anyways, I went out on trail. I come back and he goes, so how'd the Pro do? And I said, oh, it did really well. I said, you know, and I was, you know, kind of talking with him about it. And I said, so are you convinced now to get one? He goes, no, I have one. Look, it's right here. And he picked up the box. He goes, they were like, yeah, as soon as you walked away, he went right over to Horizon and got one. And I said, oh, okay. And he goes, yeah, but now I got to see if my buddy Adam will put it together for me. And I think he was joking. And I was like, dude, you want me to assemble it for you? I'll assemble it for you. I don't care. So it ended up coming back home with me. So I just got done with the transmission like 2 days ago. And yeah, it's and I believe it said 40%. So it's either a 1-to-1 or 40%. I could be wrong, but yeah,
That's wild.
but it's nice. And if you don't want to, put a servo in there, you can manually lock it in 1-to-1 or overdrive.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they got this little piece that you bolt on, and it has the same bolt hole pattern as the servo. So it mounts that same location, and it's got a little notch, and then you just put the selector in that notch, and it holds it there, and then there you go. You're locked into whatever position you want.
Huh. That's pretty cool. Wait,
So-
didn't the Capra have something like that for the dig or something? Or what did it have? I thought the
It has a
Capra
dig.
had some sort of a lockout.
No, it's got a dig.
Huh.
Yeah. So Capra's got a dig. You either dig or no dig, and then the 10.3 had the dig and a 2-speed transmission.
That's where I think I was getting screwed up.
Yeah, so the 10.3's got a 2-speed transmission and a dig. So when you got the RTR, I think they've usually put they gave in the RTR, the dig had the servo, so you could just take that and put it on the 2-speed and lock out the dig, so you don't have to worry about it. And then if you obviously went all out, you could get a servo for both, and then you just choose which one operate them on the trail as you see fit.
Right.
So, but yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, I do got to say though, I got to replace the foams in my Capra. Those things are so shot. There were so many times I was going up stuff and those tires just would wad up. I mean, like, it was funny because Dan Sutherland was like, he picked up the rig one time because I kind of rolled over and wasn't paying attention to what I was doing because I was more worried about my foot placement. And I ended up going over and ended up in this little like creek, and he picked it up and he's like, dude, your foams are like non-existent. And I said, well, okay, well, I guess I got to get foams.
What are they? Just the...
They're whatever came stock in the Axial BFG crawlers.
Oh, okay. So they're just open cells that got... Interesting.
Yeah, probably got like completely soaked and never dried out and deteriorated.
Yeah. What did you put Maxxis on something, didn't you? Did you
So I
originally have Maxxis Treps on the Capra?
I originally had Trepadors on the Capra, but the problem was they were a 4.49 or something like that.
Yeah, they're small.
So they were a little small. So then I was like, all right, I don't know. I had a weird infatuation when I was putting that rig together that I wanted to run axial tires. So then I was like, all right, what other axial tires would work? And then I looked up the crawlers, and the 1.9 crawlers were 4.7 like 1. So they're like a smidge smaller than the 4.75s that everyone else makes. So I was like, all right, that's good enough. We'll just go with that.
Those are a really good tire, though.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean, I love them. They work great. I just got to get new foams for them.
Interesting. You got me thinking about those printed foams now.
I'm telling you, just go hit up RoboSlug.
Might have to try that and see what that's all about.
They're nice.
Wonder if they're just... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I just went on A-Main's website. Yeah, they're the R35 compound and they're 4.7, so they're a 0.5 smaller than anything else that's in that range. So I'm like, I don't know. I didn't think that was enough to worry about.
Yeah.
The only problem is, which I will go to, I don't know if that becomes a problem if I wanted to go 3D foams, if they'll work.
Yeah, I don't know. Makes me wonder if they're doing like just changing the infill to change the density of them to make soft, medium, and firm.
No, yeah, I think the infill, like what I was talking about is I think it's the amount of like supports they have in there.
Yeah, that's probably
Is
the
that in?
infill. Then does it look like a bunch of little triangles or something inside?
Yep.
Okay, so he's changing the infill. That makes sense then. It's a smart way of doing it.
Yeah, so I wonder if I hit him up if he'll have an answer for this, or I guess I would do that. I do the 4.65 because then it's just a smidge smaller. Because so I'm on his website right now. So he's got you can get in soft, medium, firm, or you can split it up. So like if you know your rig's heavier in the rear or heavier in the front, softer in the rear, you could split it up. He does soft, medium, firm. So all those are going to be 4 sets of the same, or you could do split soft, medium, medium, firm, or soft, firm. So like you can like mix it up.
A long time ago, I've done that with Color Innovations foams and mixed them up. I would do firmer in the rear, softer up front. It actually works really well.
Yeah. And then you can go with tire size. He has 3.85, 3.93 for the Tusk. Those are obviously the small Tusk. And then he's got 4.19, 4.30, 4.45, 4.65, 4.75 narrow, 4.75 standard, 4.75 wide. He's got the 4.85s for the Baja Pro X. He's got 4.9 for the Rupture, and then 5.4 for the Boggers. And this is all for the obviously the 1.9 wheel. He's also does them for the 2.2s.
Wow.
So, but yeah, so he's got a lot of sizes. So I'm thinking if that's a 4.7, I think it'll be too crammed if I throw the 4.75. So maybe I just get the 4.65. Maybe that'll work. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you might have a tiny bit more squish if the tire's slightly bigger, but I mean, that's probably not enough to be an issue.
Yeah, I might hit him up and just see what he says.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, because like I said, he's also got the slug inserts for the 2.2, which he makes them a 4.75, and in parentheses he says that's for a 1.9 tire stretched over a 2.2 wheel. He also has them in a 5.25, 5.3, 5.5, 5.75, and 5.85. Then the same thing, soft, medium, firm, and all that. And here's the kicker, like this is why I think it's great. It's $45 for a set of 4 of the 1.9s, and it's $55 for a set of 2.2s. I mean,
That's not bad.
the price is not bad at all. I mean, there's people that charge like that's for like 2 inserts.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's he's competitively priced and it's a great product.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
yeah. Yeah, like I said, I'm probably gonna hit him up, see what he recommends, so I can get those going soon.
Yeah, definitely. Nice. Well, should we answer questions or go over some of the stuff that's new?
You pick.
Why don't we end on questions?
I don't know.
Go ahead and get into the new stuff if you want.
So new stuff that I came across. Everybody's seeing the VS410 Phoenix limited edition Falcon livery rig, so that's really cool. Everybody's got to check that out. They're not on AMain anymore. You would have to these are new. They're not on AMain yet. You'll have to go to their website. But Charisma Scale Adventure, they have a couple new 10th scale rigs. One of them is really, really detailed, and it's a very, very old school Land Rover, so that's kind of neat. Cross RC has some stuff out, but AMain doesn't have it anymore. I guess they dropped that line, so let me see if I can find them really quick here. I think we had covered their hauler truck, right? The tow truck. We talked about that, I think, one episode.
Yes.
They have the Emo X series now. And That appears to be their newest one. It's kind of a Jeep. Before the Gladiator come out, what did everybody call the Jeep with a pickup bed? Like what Casey Curry had. I'm just totally drawing a blank right now.
Gladiator.
Was it? They called it a Gladiator?
Well, technically, his was pre-Gladiator.
Brute. It was a Brute.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Okay. Yeah, so this looks like a Brute, kind of. Got portals. I think that's their very first portal rig. I think the UT4 that we had seen before. Oh wow, they have a 1/7 4-wheel drive buggy now, which I don't remember that one from before, but it's huge. Interesting. Yeah, 659, a 1/7 Rock Racer style. Huh. Crazy. I wasn't expecting that. So, anyways, yeah, not a whole lot of news, but so you get some news.
I'm still waiting. Who told me to message him? I was talking about with the Operation 11 guys. I was talking about future builds and stuff, and I told him about the Duramax. Eventually, I want to do that, but something that's kind of keeping that on the back burner is the fact that the new IFS isn't out as a kit. You can purchase it, I think, in pieces, but it's not out as a kit. And somebody was like, "Oh, just text John and have him send you one."
Oh, for IFS?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not even available yet. Like, I just got a sneak peek of packaging and stuff the other day, so it's still a ways out.
Nice.
I don't know how far, but a little ways. You're going to like it, though. It's really good. It's so much better than the old setup. You'll dig it.
Nice.
So I guess we can move on to questions then. If that's cool with everyone.
It's cool with me.
What's that?
I was saying probably move on to questions now.
Yeah. Let me pull them up. Well, we have 2 questions on the Instagram.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so the first one is from Murder Lines RC.
Which is Jared Bloom.
He says, "Who gets eaten first in a survival situation? You or him?"
Probably me. I think I have a little more meat on my bones, and I'm probably slower running away, so he could probably catch me and kill me and eat me. The reason why he's asking that is because we're going up to Lake 22 to hike tomorrow with the night runners, so
Good info.
evidently he's wanting to be prepared for anything, so
Which is smart.
no, it is. I mean, we've seen how these things can go, when it's not planned out who gets eaten first. I mean,
Fair enough, bro.
yeah.
And then at Small RC, nice. Which RC parts do you wish were standardized?
Interiors. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
That's a tough question, huh?
That's
I
a
mean,
tough
everybody has such a crazy long wish list,
I feel like it's, I don't know. What do we not get standard now that I can't think of anything that it's like, oh, I wish they had, everything came like this.
They can make
I don't know.
plastic injection molded beadlocks pretty easily. It would be nice if most RTRs and stuff came with beadlock wheels that you don't have to do the acetone trick or bake them to get the tires off.
That's true. That would be cool.
I bet people would use stock tires more if they came off easily and could go on other wheels.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I guess if I had to say anything about like that, where they should standardize, I still think they should standardize the size 1/10 scale as a whole, because we still have rigs,
Yeah.
that
True.
like, oh, it's 10 scale, but you're putting a 10 scale Jeep next to a 10 scale, you know, Chevy, and it's not the same.
No,
Like
that's
the
a good
Jeep,
point. That's something that drives me crazy with bodies and stuff like that. Where it's just like it's just that tiny little thing where you see them sit next to each other and you're just like, man.
Yeah, the Bushido, you kind of have to drive by yourself.
Good. Yeah, it's a good example. That's a really good example of that. Where
Which
it's like,
luckily
it's a really cool
really,
rig,
really
but
fun to drive. So that kind of makes up for not being able to photograph it next to anything. But
yeah, but still, it's just one of those things. I understand why doing a 9-inch wheelbase was prohibitive.
right. Yeah.
But still, it's just one of those
True.
things.
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever see that though.
What?
Standardized sizing.
Oh, God, no.
As long as
No.
companies like Horizon are out there, they're
I mean,
not gonna pay attention to that.
so long as any company more than one is making them,
Yeah.
this will be a problem.
yeah. Well, I mean, like prime example. Look at like I got my RC 4-wheel drive. I have the Clodbuster body. That thing is tiny.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So is
Yeah, it's
that
supposed to be
Tamiya
a-
Tundra too. It's little too.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be 10 scale.
It's just such a subjective designation.
Ruins it, bro.
Totally
Yeah.
ruins it.
Yeah, I don't see any other questions. Yeah, just those two.
Okay, well, like I said, we had a late
Yeah.
posting.
That is true.
Yeah, it was actually I don't want to put us on blast on the show.
Put us on blast?
Yeah,
Why?
how flaky? Well, not flaky, but how like we were going. So Michelle was the one who actually texted me. I told her, I was like, "Hey, we're about to do the we had our biweekly OAC meeting at work," and she goes, "Okay," and she goes, "And you have the podcast tonight, right?" And I'm like, "Good question. I haven't heard anything all day."
I forgot about it. I've been so focused on getting stuff ready for tomorrow that I didn't even. You messaged me. I was like, "Oh shit, that's right." Oops.
So, yep.
I'll have more time in like 2 months.
Yeah.
Then I could get going on recording pretty regularly again.
What you got going on for the next 2 months?
Like 4 jobs.
Wow.
Every day is something different, but we're doing the I haven't talked about it, obviously not on here, but I haven't talked about it in the group chat yet, but in a month and change I'm moving to Colorado. So
Yeah. I know that I remember because I mentioned, which actually I guess we can still talk, we can kind of semi talk about that too. Because I know I mentioned to you guys when I found out from Eric Sarceno
Yeah.
when we were up at Axial Fest that this is the last year of the ASD crawl. And I was like, man, that kind of sucks. And I know you guys are talking about coming down. So I immediately told you guys like, hey, this is the last year. So if you're thinking about coming to it, you might, really need to think now.
Yeah.
And that's when your dad was like, yeah, well, Travis is going to be moving, so I don't know if that's going to work. And then I think I asked local or out of state, and I never heard anything.
Oh, whoops. Sorry about that.
Oh,
I could be wrong.
yeah.
Maybe you answered, and I just don't remember reading it.
Yeah, no.
But-
yeah. Bit of a track. I'd still like
So-
to do that, but yeah, I just don't know. Getting
So
to that
why
point.
Colorado?
Not Washington.
Not Washington?
Not Washington. Yeah, that's my go-to answer. No, it's just we've had it on radar for a little while, and so it seemed like it'd be nice. feel like it would be good, like, just to keep on theme, but I feel like it would be good too for us in a way, because there's a lot of stuff out there that I'd like to go check out and see and everything.
What part of Colorado?
Denver.
Denver? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah, I'll just be just be somewhere in the outer suburbs of Denver.
Okay. Yeah, we passed through Denver. To be honest, like coming through Denver, Colorado Springs, anything that's on that main part of 80, or is that 80 or is that 70? I forget what that.
70 goes through laterally, and 25 runs down through Denver down to Colorado Springs.
Okay, maybe it was 25 then. Because no, 70 is what we took to get out. We went back up and over, and then down through the hoity-toity part, then through
The what part?
hoity-toity.
Which part is that?
Vale, all that stuff.
Oh, interesting.
All the fancy, yeah, Aspen.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Where all the high, I mean, like
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I've never actually, because I never really had like a desire to go to that part of Colorado. So when we were traveling through, Michelle, and of course we're traveling in the summer when it's not covered in snow, and she's like, "Oh, it's so pretty here." She goes, "Maybe we should come back," and and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I started looking, and I'm like, "This area is like Bay Area prices. Like, what the hell?"
Oh,
So
it must be insane, yeah.
yeah, so I was like, no wonder everybody talks about coming here, because I said it's freaking expensive. But yeah, when you're going through like the Denver, like to me, it reminds me a lot of like the big cities in California, your Sacramento's, your San Francisco's, you're not quite LA, but like you're like in the city. When you're in any of those like kind of like suburbs, like when we stayed in I always draw a blank because we went to that place in Colorado Springs, but we were staying in a town just south of that, and that one was way more like kind of like open. Like you were like there's more terrain. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't so like urbanized. Not Golden. Now it's driving me nuts. I'm gonna have to look. But anyways, I mean it's nice. They got some nice places. I mean, we didn't go to Red Rock Amphitheater, but we went to the Red Rock Canyon, like the hiking areas.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty nice. Like I said, Colorado's got some nice scenery.
Yeah. Definitely excited for that.
Should be some great places to crawl, and there's like a pretty well, I guess fairly well known drift place there too.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. So that's kind of cool.
We stayed in Fountain, which is like just south of Colorado Springs. I had to look it up.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, we were kind of looking down there a little bit, but I've heard like a lot of varying takes on Colorado Springs.
Yeah,
so I thought I would just say where the work is.
Yeah, I was gonna say Denver. You probably like Boulder, because that's like on the outskirts of Denver, but it's like still like close enough to where like you wouldn't be like so far away.
Yeah, that's true.
But you are right. Yeah, we hit 80, and then when we hit Cheyenne, we dropped down 25 through Fort Collins.
Yeah.
Straight down. Yeah, then 70 we went over through Breckenridge, Vale, all that stuff. I do got to say that was a nice drive coming through all those mountains. I mean, there were some nice.
Yeah, technically the quicker way to come down would be going through 80 and then dropping down the same way you did for me. But part of me is kind of thinking that. Well, I mean, we'll see, because I got to do the drive twice. So if for what I'm looking at, I do kind of want to at least do eastbound 70 just once, even if it's a little bit out of the way.
Well, yeah, because then I think what you would do is you would take 80 all the way to Salt Lake and then drop down 15, and then 15, then you could hit 70 and go
Down, what
the
is
whole
that?
way.
Like Salina, like get over to. Yeah, exactly. I could probably even cut through a little bit in like Provo or something. So.
Yep.
So yeah.
So. Yeah, then you'll come right by, because I do got to say that it is pretty like desolate when you go by where it says Green River and Thompson Springs and all that.
Yeah.
That, I'll tell you right now, is like straight up. Each direction you look is just desert for miles. Like you're like, because it's right outside of Moab, so it's just like desert.
Yeah.
And not even the cool like formations like Moab. It's just desert.
It's desert. Yeah.
So, but yeah, well, that's cool.
No, looking forward to it. So, yeah, it's just timing and everything. So, it would, yeah, I'll take a look and just try and get a final confirmation. It'll probably be pretty tight.
Yeah.
But just too bad because I would have loved to have gone.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be a good event. If anyone's listening that, want like that's semi close or wants to make the trek out, it's a good event. This will be a lot of this event is going to be geared towards a celebration of Brandon Tommy's life. So yeah, it'll be a good one.
I need to start thinking about flight or what I want to do for getting down there. Hopefully I can. We'll see.
Where is it?
So it's also technically in Pollock Pines, but it's like the other side of Pollock Pines. Like a lot of people were asking about that. They're like, well, I thought Rob's Resort was in Pollock Pines. It's like, yes, but you're on like the opposite side of the mountain, Pollock Pines. So this one is off of Highway 88, Bear River Lake Resort. So, and there should actually be some decent water since the amount of rain we had this year. Because the last two events that I've been out there, there's the lake's down to like nothing.
Oh, no kidding. That's too bad.
Yeah. So this year, I'm sure it's pretty full.
Yeah, so we'll fly into Sacramento probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you camping there, Adam, or what are you doing?
No, I'm just I'm gonna head out Saturday morning. So I'll be there Saturday morning. Actually, Oscar called me and he wants me and Elio to judge the show and shine as 2 Chainz.
Say it again.
So Oscar had called me and he was like, "Hey, would you and Elio be willing to judge the show and shine?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, why not?"
Okay.
And then he goes, "But I got one stipulation." I'm like, "What's that?" And he goes, "You got to do it as 2 Chainz." So I was like, "All right."
That'll be cool.
So we got like a little reunion going on.
Nice. Right on. How many shirts and stuff do you still have from all that? Did you save any for yourself?
Oh yeah, I have the ones that. So I have the generic ones that CKRC printed out, just the black shirt that has the 2 Chainz logo on the front, and the one with the chains and all the remote and all that stuff on the back. Then I still have my button-up shirts from CKRC with the 2 Chainz on the back, which actually me and Elio were talking about. We're gonna wear those. And then I also still have both of my gray shirts that you printed out.
Oh wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, Elios are destroyed. One he like destroyed with mustard from his hot dog. Like I was like, I'm not kidding. It like he like spilt and it like would not come out. Like I'm like even after he washed it, it's like, dude, I've washed this thing
Jesus.
like 4 times, and it's like permanently stained. And I'm like, what kind of mustard were you eating?
That's great.
So yeah, so I don't think he's got either one of those shirts anymore. But I have mine. I don't know. I guess you can say that's where I'm a little bit of a like not really a clothes snob, but like some of that stuff where I have sentimental, attachments to.
Mm-hmm.
I just fold them up and I put them in a big um like storage bin.
Yeah.
I hang on to t-shirts for a long time too. I've got a lot. I still have like our Axial Fest ones. I've got a couple Crawl for a Cure ones from when we sponsored that, and then I've got my 2 Chains one from you with the stuff on the back. And yeah, I pretty much have hung on to like everything.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I have a whole like just RC, collection of shirts and sweatshirts and everything. Actually, it was funny. So, um, Thursday night on the drive up to Auburn when we were going to Axial Fest, I was wearing your Trail Slayer shirt, and Michelle goes, "Oh, that's a cute shirt," and I'm like, "I'm sure Jay really wants to hear that's a cute shirt."
Oh no, that's fine. My mother and my sister both. Everything I do is that's cute. So I'm used to it.
So yeah.
That's funny. Well, I'm glad that we make cute stuff. That's good.
Especially with
It's
the one
always
with
been
the,
one of my goals.
especially the one with the Slayer writing on it.
Yeah, that one's especially cute, and it matches a lot of shoes, so that's cool.
So yeah. Yeah, I have like all my SOR shirts. I even have my
almost all of them. There's a few I've had to throw away.
yeah, I got the one that's got I think you sent the one that's got the old school like SoCal Speed Shop style one.
Oh, yep.
I think I have that. I still have that one. I have the plaid one, the flannel.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Trail Slayer one. And I think, do I have like a generic one from you? I can't remember if I have just one that just is like a generic, like your old school SOR logo.
Gosh, I don't even remember. There's been so many that I've just flat out forgot about from over the years.
Which
The
I
old
thought
school like garage one, I wish I still had a new one of. That one's cool.
well, if you squeeze in an extra large, I can send it your way.
Oh no, it's fine.
What's the date again for the ASD?
September 16th is the actual event.
Oh, that's like just around the corner.
Oh, okay, that's farther out than I thought. So if someone's going to prospectively fly in 15th out the 17th, so that Friday and Sunday?
So they actually, yeah, Friday, Saturday. So the 15th is when a lot of people will be there. The event's on the 16th, and then the people that still camp overnight Saturday will be leaving the 17th on Sunday.
Gotcha. Okay. Looking into it.
But yeah. Ugh.
Sorry, I was thinking.
What were you thinking about?
Yeah, actually, I probably should have looked up. I probably should have tried to snag your newer logo when I was painting the Pro body. I used the only SOR one I have.
Oh no, sorry. I'll have to.
No, it's okay.
It's okay. We still have that on some things. Well, so we got 9:15.
Yep.
Yeah.
Call it, you think, fillers?
Yeah, a
Sure.
little over an hour. BSing.
Got caught up on stuff, so that's good. Cool. Well,
Okay.
alrighty, guys.
Well, alrighty. Well, thank you everybody for listening once again and being patient with us as we work through our release schedule. But as always, very grateful for everyone who takes the time to join. So, see
And
you
if I
guys
don't
later.
get eaten, yeah, we'll see you guys.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Oh yeah, probably. We'll see.
All right.
Don't
so-
sound too thrilled. All right, guys.
Later.
Later.